All right, welcome back to the channel, everybody. Justin here with DTT. We're doing a quick highlight video on another product that we love from our good friends at Aero Precision. Hopefully everybody's familiar with Aero Precision. Great, respected, well-known name in the firearms industry, AR-15 industry. We love working with those guys, mostly because they make great products. So this is a relatively new product from Aero Precision. They released this within the last year, and this is their EPC, which is a PCC specific receiver set. So what I'm holding is a full build that we just kind of built out here in the shop. Specifically, we are talking about the receiver set in this video. So we have our lower receiver, upper receiver, and these are PCC specific. So what that means is a PCC stands for pistol caliber carbine. So that is an AR-15 that is built specifically to run common pistol caliber rounds. So most commonly is 9mm. This one is set up for 9mm. You can get it in 9mm and 40 currently, and I believe they are soon to release this receiver set that is compatible for 45 and I believe 10mm. So right now what you can get is this one. Most commonly we see it done for 9mm builds, but you could also build out a 40 cal PCC on this. So this is their EPC, and that stands for enhanced pistol caliber, because this is a PCC receiver set that is enhanced. It is definitely a little bit better. There's some really cool features and upgrades just built into this for us from Aero Precision. All right, so we're just going to do a quick rundown of some of the features that are just available as part of this receiver set. First things first, I think it's really good and really cool that we can get a PCC specific receiver set from Aero Precision. Like I said, Aero's a great brand, a great manufacturer. They make great components and quality products. So if you know anything about these PCC builds, they run on a direct blowback system instead of like a direct impingement system for the gas. And essentially, these have a more aggressive cycling system than a lot of the rifle caliber ARs that we're used to. The blowback system is really aggressive. There's a lot more force and like hard movement going on inside the receiver set. So obviously, like most AR-15 receivers that you buy for this are going to be okay. They're going to work out fine. But there's definitely some nice confidence in getting a product from a manufacturer like Aero Precision, who does go that extra mile to use quality materials and manufacture like strong parts with good tolerances, so that when we're working with a more aggressive blowback system, we just know we can trust the parts to handle all the workings of the firearm. So I'm going to start with the lower receiver. We'll go over a few things on this. So first things first, this receiver set is Glock magazine compatible. So standard Glock mags or like off-brand Glock compatible mags, you're going to be good to go in this receiver set. The magwell is already set up for that, so you don't need any sort of magwell conversion or anything like you might using a standard AR-15 lower receiver. So that's awesome, because Glock mags are, even if you don't already own a Glock, you know Glock mags are going to be good availability, pretty easy to get your hands on. So thing number one, Glock mag compatible. Second thing, the magwell on this has like a pretty nice flare on it. We'll toss a close-up shot in here so you can really get a good look at that, but there's a good flare around the magwell here, which just gives you a bigger opening and makes for faster, easier, safer reloads. And that's just already part of the receiver set. You don't have to buy a flared magwell attachment to install on the gun. So that's really cool. Next thing is, you know, when you're building an AR, you buy your lower parts kit. One of the things that comes in that is the trigger guard. It's usually just like a straight little bar. Sometimes they come with a curved one. This lower receiver comes with an enhanced trigger guard already installed. It's just machined in as part of the receiver. So it does kind of curve, which gives just like a little more space there in the trigger compartment. Has these holes machined in the bottom. So it's nice. It's a little bit different than what you would find from just like a standard LPK, and that is already integrated. You don't have to worry about installing that when you put your gun together. The next thing about this lower receiver is the hole in the back for the takedown pin detent. If you've ever built an AR-15 before, you know how this goes. That hole, you put the detent in, you put a spring in, and then you kind of you have to hold the spring in with the end plate while you put the buffer tube on and tighten the castle nut down, and it can be a real pain. And if you ever want to change anything with the back end of your gun, you got to loosen the castle nut. You're pulling this off. You got to be real careful with that end plate so that you don't lose that spring. And it can be a little tricky. It can be inconvenient. So what Aero has done is actually threaded that hole, and they give you a little, just a tiny little screw, so you can screw that in once the spring is in, and that'll hold that in place while you assemble the rest of this part. So that's just like a little detail that makes things a little easier, a little more convenient that they did with this receiver set. So next thing, these do have an upper receiver like tension set screw. You tighten the screw from the bottom and it'll press on the bottom of the upper receiver here just to make sure that you have a nice tight fit. You can get some little bit of wiggle in the receiver set, and that set screw is just, that's another nice little detail. It's not necessary, but it does help the gun fit together tighter and better, and it feels really nice. So that is a feature that is also, that's on the M4E1. If you're familiar with more of Aero's line, more of Aero's products, that is a feature that was carried over from the M4E1. Next thing is we have a threaded bolt catch. So again, if you've ever, this is one of those things that you know, if you've ever put an AR-15 together, ever installed your own LPK, there is a hole here, and usually that bolt catch is held in place by a roll pin that you have to kind of like hold right here. You got to get the right size punch. You got to kind of work it in, but it's a tough angle because there's not a lot of space right here. So they have threaded that hole. They give you a little screw and you just thread it in, and that is what holds the bolt catch in place. So again, a nice little detail. It's simple, but it makes things a lot easier when you are building out this lower receiver or when you want to change something out. You know, say you want to toss on a different bolt catch, or you're having problems with that or something, you need to fix it. Makes it so much easier to take that screw out instead of having to remove a roll pin. And then last thing on this lower is there is kind of an enhanced mag release. You know, we're familiar with the standard AR-15 mag release. It's just a little oval button, but we do get kind of a longer footprint on that. So easier to get to with your finger. It's really nice. It's easy to use. It feels good. And that mag release comes already installed. So normally you would have to install your own mag release from an LPK, but a few of these proprietary parts are just already installed in the receiver from the manufacturer, ready to go. So that's also super awesome. They've eliminated a few steps if you're going to build your own PCC. I think that's about it for the lower receiver. It's nice. It feels good. You know, there's the little details that make it different as a PCC, but it feels super familiar to just your standard AR-15 that we're used to shooting. So moving on to the upper receiver. I'm gonna pull that stuff out so we don't have to worry about it. The first thing that you'll notice about this upper is, one, there's no forward assist, and two, we have a smaller ejection port door than we're used to on an AR-15 upper receiver. Most of these PCC BCGs, the pistol caliber BCGs, do not even come with the notches in the side to use a forward assist. So generally speaking, forward assist is not necessary in most of these builds. And we're not dealing with rifle caliber casings, which are bigger, longer. So we have a smaller ejection port door because we only need to worry about shorter casings from pistol size rounds, which I mean is just nice because there's less there's less of an entrance for stuff to get in there and potentially gum up your upper receiver if that's something that you're worried about. So those are the first two features that are pretty typical for PCC uppers. Next thing, and this is one of the bigger things for this receiver set, it's really important and it's really nice. We have the last round bolt hold open mechanism here, already integrated, already installed on the upper receiver when you get this. Again, if you've ever built specifically a PCC, you may be familiar with this. The last round bolt hold open feature, which is pretty standard for like AR-15s. Most AR-15s that you shoot, that you buy, that you build for standard like rifle calibers, of course, like your most common 5.56, it's standard. You're gonna have last round bolt hold open as long as that gun's working the way that it's supposed to. But in the PCCs, it's not as standardized. There's a lot of receiver sets that are made without that feature. So it's really cool that Aero has made sure to include that. And not only did they include it, you don't have to install it. It's already integrated, it's already ready to go straight from the factory. So this is one of the few receiver sets that for sure you're gonna have last round bolt hold open when you shoot this gun. Next thing on here is we do have just mil-spec threads here on the front of the upper receiver. So you're gonna have a really wide compatibility as far as barrel nuts and what handguards to use. You're gonna be able to use pretty much anything that you would on any AR-15. So that's nice. You can still have all the options that you would normally have as far as your barrel nuts and handguards go. And then the last thing is, and we'll try and put in a close-up of this as well, because obviously it's covered in this one with the handguard on there, but right here at the top of the upper receiver on the front face of it, they've put a little like indexing dimple. There's just a tiny little dimple in the metal, and that's just there. It's right in the center to help you with like proper timing of your barrel nut when you're installing barrel nut, handguard, and barrel. So that's another just a small detail. You could get by without it, but we have Aero trying to make things as easy and convenient for us as possible so that we can put together quality tools that are going to work well. One of the reasons we like working with Aero Precision. So that's about it for the Aero EPC receiver set. Guys, you can buy these on our website. As usual, we will put a link in the caption below so you can head to our site, check out more. We have these parts all individually listed as well as in combos, so that if you don't want to go through and pick out each individual piece and component, you can easily shop and find some stuff that we've already put compatible combos together for you. So again, we have it available in online as well as a bunch of other awesome products from Aero Precision. I think that is about it for today, guys. Again, we appreciate you tuning in, and we're gonna go put some rounds through this thing because it's a really good time. We'll catch you on the next one.